Okay, who would have thought that we'd be sitting here in 2025 talking about the possibility of a revival for Longmire, a show that literally ended 8 years ago? Honestly, I didn't see that one coming, but here we are. Well, with Yellowstone and its whole Western empire completely taking over TV, it's like Longmire is just the next logical choice to re enter the spotlight. Justified got its comeback, so why not Longmire? And guess what? It looks like we could actually be on the brink of a seventh season. So, for anyone who missed it, Longmire ran for 6 seasons back in the day and it ended in 2017. What is it about Longmire that I was and many viewers were so passionate about? The thing about Longmire that really stuck with me, and I know for many others too, wasn't just the plot itself. It wasn't just another crime procedural, it was how it dug deep into those morally complex characters. Walt Longmire, for example, wasn't just dealing with small town crime, he was navigating some really heavy personal stuff too. That crew, Vic, Henry, and Katie, all brought something unique to the table and making the show feel like this tight knit, complex little world. And when this incredible show originally aired on A&E, it was one of those shows that quietly built a loyal fan base, but it was never really in the mainstream spotlight. Then Netflix picked it up and boom, a whole new audience, myself included. But here's the kicker. As of January 1st of this year, Longmire vanished from Netflix's library, which, yeah, was a huge gut punch for a lot of us. The word on the street says that is because the show's being revived by Warner Bros., which owns the intellectual property rights to the series. After Netflix deleted the show from its library, the show has found a new home on Paramount Plus, which, if you ask me, is pretty much the perfect move. This is where Western shows are thriving right now. Yellowstone, 1883, 1923, they're all living there. Now, Craig Johnson, the creator of Longmire, has made no secret of his frustrations with how Netflix handled the show. I mean, they dropped the show despite strong viewership. I think he has every right to be angry about it. In a Facebook post, he even joked about canceling his Netflix subscription over it. In the post, he also teased that now Warner Brothers isn't tied to Netflix anymore. They might be open to bringing Longmire back. I don't know about you, but I'm cautiously optimistic about this. I don't know if it is just me being delusional, but I'm really hoping to see that seventh season. And let's not forget that Paramount Plus is the perfect fit for a potential return. If there was ever a home for Longmire in this new golden age of westerns, it's on that platform. The audience is already there, seeing it return and slot in alongside the shows in the Yellowstone universe would just make sense. So if we hypothetically have a seventh season, what is it going to be about and where did we leave off? In the sixth season, Walt finally starts to get some clarity on Jacob Nighthorse, and surprise, surprise, it's actually Malachi Strand who's the true evil mastermind of the season. He tries to take down pretty much everyone, which puts the entire group on edge. And Walt, as usual, leans on Henry, Vic, and Ferg to help keep the county from falling apart. On the other hand, Katie had a rough time this season. She basically lost everything after that child incident, and I really thought she was about to peace out of Wyoming for good, but then Zach shows up and keeps her from leaving. Remember him? Walt had fired him in the past. Katie even decides to run for sheriff after Walt's retirement, and that was another reason that kept her in town. Now, about Vic's storyline, she's still grieving after losing the baby she was carrying, but then out of nowhere, we get this strange shift in the final episode. Vic and Walt have this huge lovey-dovey moment, and then suddenly she's the one waiting at home, all domestic, while Walt's off doing his sheriff thing. I don't know about you, but that felt so off to me. Vic was always so independent and strong, so seeing her take that sudden turn just didn't sit right. It honestly felt like the show caved to some weird patriarchy trope, and I wasn't a fan. But I'm also curious about your thoughts. When it comes to Longmire Season 7, there's no shortage of material to dive into. After the show wrapped in 2017, the book series continued to expand, giving a treasure trove of new stories for potential revival. By the way, there's still no information coming from the actors, and I've always wondered what the cast thinks about all this. Robert Taylor, who played Walt, has always spoken fondly of the show, and you can tell he really values the work they did together. And I'm sure they'd all be just as excited to return to their roles if given the chance. Robert actually shared his thoughts in July 2024, expressing how much he'd love to revisit the role. He mentioned that it was a special experience and that if the opportunity ever came up, he'd be all for it. That's good news for me because I can't imagine anyone else stepping into Walt's boots, that's for sure. One thing that Robert also revealed was the possibility of a Longmire movie, so there's a chance we might get a movie rather than a season 7, let's say. I would personally prefer multiple episodes instead of a 2-hour movie, that's for sure, but if a movie is the only option Netflix and Warner Bros. Offer to the showrunners, then who am I to say no? Will the other actors want to return though? Cassidy Freeman, who played Katie Longmire, also jumped on the revival train, sharing her own excitement back in August 2023. When asked if she'd be up for returning to the show, she responded with a confident absolutely. I think it is so precious that the cast members are still talking positively about this return. What do you think? Well, as for the potential release date, if everything goes well and they decide to work on it sometime in the summer of this year, we may get to see it in 2026, but keep in mind, this is just an optimistic prediction. Of course, there's no trailer, but if it comes out on Netflix, they're doing pretty good trailers lately, so I have high hopes for it. A little tease this year and then a full trailer at the beginning of next year would be amazing. Seeing Walt with his iconic shotgun and the return of the other characters is all I want. What do you want to see in the trailer? And should Longmire get its revival, or should we leave it in the past? I'm sure we're all itching for another ride with Walt and the gang. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and watch this video next.